collaborative effort to enlist 21st century science and technology in a quest to find and repatriate American MIAs since World War II, which is really incredible. So nice to have you here. Welcome.
Pretty much nailed it, so I think I'm good to go. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite by Redmond Kiwanis Club. My name's Adrian, as I just mentioned. Served Marine Corps for 4 years. They're kind of just as Battalion 1, aboard Camp Pendleton. After the Marine Corps, I got out and started serving in the nonprofit sector for a while. Really liked mission-oriented work. I got to like it. A lot of what that sector had. Moved out to Penn 2018. Met Darren, he's the now president, CEO, and president of Project Recover, just to regional connections here in Central Oregon. And yeah, got an opportunity to work with Project Recover, and have been with them for a little bit over a year and a half now. Just a small disclaimer, I am, as you mentioned, operations, so I don't do these a lot, so I'll probably be looking at my screen a lot. I do like to do questions after. I do know a lot of organizations just because I got to make sure the ship is running, going in the right direction, so I can answer most questions. So I'll try and go through as fast as possible in the presentation, and then open up for questions from anyone. So primarily our mission is to locate and find missing Americans from past wars. We use modern technology and methodologies and research base to find the individuals. We've been in over 20 countries now. The organization was founded by Dr. Pat Stanton. A lot of these credentials were before he even started the organization. He's an avid scuba diver prior to finding Project Recover. Was in Palau, it's a small island in the South Pacific, just recreational diving, and big historian buff. He knew that there was a lot of wrecks during World War II that happened in Palau. So he decided to ask the guides to bring them to these remote locations in the island to just see what the wrecks look like. And then in this image, this is the first wreck that Pat ever found. When he physically touched it for the first time, a million questions happened. He just didn't know any of the answers, and really has dedicated the rest of his life to getting answers, not just for this aircraft, but for all of the missing Americans since World War II. Project Recover has been in some capacity around for over 3 decades now. Our database internally that we hold is over 700 cases that's associated with over 3,000 MIA cases. And a lot of the 3,000 cases that we have from our database is actionable information, which means really there's nothing stopping us outside of resources to go and execute search or recovery mission in those cases. So this is an image of our work. So that's Palau, that small star over there. And this is where we've been now operating since Palau. At the beginning of last year, we entered 28th country, as I mentioned. We've worked in almost every theater that the U.S. has been in conflict since World War II. We are also a partner of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency. It's the agency that has the responsibility under the DOD to find and recover missing service members from past wars. The data that we have right now from the DOD is about 8,100,000 service members that have been lost from all past conflicts. The majority of them are World War II, and then some trickle down from the Korean War, Vietnam, and then other conflicts. One of the key things I would say is project recovery is that we fill a gap that the DoD can't fill. When a service member is lost during a training accident, they're technically not designated as a conflict loss. We don't have the MIA designation. That's where we can come in because we are not the DoD. We have internal funds that we can then proceed and potentially recover service members that have been lost in training accidents. Last year we were in Washington, and Cascades looking for World War II training accident. And then hopefully we're pushing for a mission in Gulf of Mexico, and then the next year, training accident as well. And like I mentioned before, unfortunately the DoD doesn't designate those service members as missing in action, so they don't have the resources and funds allocated to these recoveries. We consider ourselves fully vertical, and the concept behind that is we are capable of doing all aspects of a mission to get to the point where we're doing a recovery. So there's a lot of organizations out there that do research-based missions, documentation missions, and then obviously recoveries. Under Project Recover, we're capable of doing every single one of those aspects for a lost service member, and ultimately the goal is to bring those service members back home. And so I'll go through the 5 steps that really gets to the point where we are potentially doing a repatriation. The work really starts in the thorough archival research. We work with the DoD and other partners in the United States and globally to comb through every piece of data we can possibly do to construct a case per each individual. Oftentimes it will start with one crash. That can be one aviator or up to 16, depending on the conflict that they were in. Then we do a search and motion. At this point, we then introduce a lot of the technology that we have. We have sonar and remote sensing technology. And now we've started partnering with the University of Georgia to potentially introduce eDNA. It's a fairly new concept. The idea is really to be able to take samples or core samples from the earth and immediately know if there's human DNA there, which would reduce the cost for the missions as well. Not having to go back to the country that we were doing the surgery with. And it gives us the ability to know right then and there if there is a potential human being in that person. Once we do locate the site, we then carefully document and preserve all the details of that location. We work with all the host country and local authorities to make sure that site is then not disturbed until we have the ability to come back in and complete a recovery. And at that point, when it's safe and feasible, we then will conduct a recovery, depending if it's an underwater recovery or terrestrial or land recovery. It can really vary on the equipment that we use, the team members that we bring out in the field, and then the host country and how much they're willing to work with us to be able to do the recovery as well. And then the repatriation. At this point, DPA has then concluded their identification process, and without a doubt, they know that this individual is the aviator that we're looking for, or service member, and the DoD then connects with the families, the next and any relative that's still alive from the service member, and then every single time, at least from my understanding, we've been invited by the family to lead the ceremony and then is the repatriation. 2024, we had 500 locations. As you can see on this picture, that's all 8 years from one single aircraft. David Jr. was in a Mustang. We were able to recover him in 2023. All of these individuals were identified and have been repatriated to date now. And these are completed missions in 2024. We were overseas about 5 times. We had 2 missions that were stateside, and then educational missions that we worked with high schools in California, teach about what Project Recovery does, and then in the hope to really help that generation understand really the concept of jobs and what we're doing as an organization in this service as well. Some of the stuff that we have ongoing right now, University of Georgia, like I mentioned before, the partnership is starting to increase. We will be conducting 2 eDNA missions, one in Palau and one in Germany. We're partnering with an organization in Italy for one of the key battles, and I'm not going to remember the exact location, but really excited about getting into the European theater. We have done a lot of cases, mostly in the South Pacific. As I mentioned before, this is the Cold War training accident that we're hoping to start working on in the end of next year. All of these aviators are still considered MIA. Like I mentioned before, we are capable and are able to execute a recovery on these individuals that are being touched by the DoD. Our education program. This is a program that I mentioned before about partnering with the high schools in California. A lot of the initiative behind this is just the future generations and honoring what sacrifice of the service members that were lost, and hoping to instill some of the vocational experiences that we have amongst our team members. We have about close to 70 team members, and not one single vocation overlaps. So we have an immense type of background within our capabilities and what our team members can bring to the team as well. And here's a short video.
We truly believe that we don't clock our nation and swear down to the Constitution. We make a promise to each and every one of those individuals and their families that should they fall into combat, we will do everything that we can as a collective, as Americans, to return them to their family. And that's what Project Recovery does. We do everything that we can to help fulfill that promise. We truly feel like we represent America.
We grew up around a house filled with his pictures and the notice on the wall from the president that he had died in action. My grandmother often expressed how one of the hardest parts was just not having a place to put flowers on her grave or to remember him. He was lost someplace they couldn't even imagine. I'm the niece of Wilbur Metz, the oldest living niece, and I was born 3 days after his plane went down.
There are about 81,500 Americans missing in action, of which about 72,000 are missing from World War II. There's never a time where an MIA lacks mystery. Do we grieve because this individual is dead? Do we have concerns because in fact they might be suffering and alive? This ambiguousness can tear families apart. This is not something that ends with the generation from 1945. It was transferred from generation to generation. And it's similar here with Wilbur Mitz.
The team found a wing of an Avenger through the information provided by an expat in 2003. And we didn't find the main fuselage or the main debris field until 2015, which is 12 years after documenting that wing. And so then we started doing a lot of research to try and determine whose aircraft it could possibly be. We've done the initial research, the search, the location, the documentation, and the recovery on this site that has resulted in global being repatriated. We've had 2 service members from this aircraft repatriated, Wilbur Mitz and Anthony DePetta. So it's something that we're incredibly proud of. They're repatriated and returned to their families, and that's the entire reason that we do this.
I am in awe of all of the people and all of the effort that has gone into making this return home possible. The real joy of it is in seeing the impact on family members.
I really did have chills thinking how much it would have meant to my dad and his sister and my grandmother to have been there, and I felt like we were there in their place. I just thought, oh, the tribute you're getting, you so deserve. I wish you could have been here to be with us and receive it, and I hope you know that it's happening now so many years later.
On this day, we honor Radio Man Mitz for his fight, for his service, and for his ultimate sacrifice. But we realize that the least that we can do for him and for his family was to bring him back to Seaside. In the loss of Radio Man Mitz, we also are suffused. We are filled with the pride of his service, his sacrifice, and after a long fight to find him, to finally bring him home to Seaside.
Wilbur served honorably, heroically, and selflessly. Thanks to DPAA and with the support of teams like Ships of Discovery and Project Recovery, we have closure. To the entire Mitz family, thank you for what you have given for our country. Thank you for your persistence of hope. You kept Wilbur in your hearts, minds, and memories for nearly 80 years, and you held out hope that he would return home. And today, he is home.
Time to come home, dear brother. Your tour of duty through. You've given as much as anyone could be expected to do. Just a few steps further, the smoke will start to clear. Others here will guide you. You have no need of fear. You have not failed your brothers. You clearly gave it all, and through your selfless actions, others will hear the call. So take your place of honor among those who have gone before, and know you will be remembered for now and evermore. Radio Man Metz has fought a good fight.
I always like to play that video because it does a whole lot better than I can explain it everything. When I first started with Project Recover, the emotional part of it was something that I really didn't think was going to be something that I'd be worried about or even think about. My whole mindset going into it was operationally, really. And last year I was given the opportunity to go to my first memorial. It was really special for me. Dorothy, she's one of 3 nieces of the 3 aviators from Wilbur Minutes was a part of a bird that had 3 aviators in it. Project Recover has repatriated all 3 of them, and Lieutenant McNown was repatriated last year in Kingwood, West Virginia. I was able to attend that ceremony, and all 3 nieces of the 2 other nieces of the other aviators came there to be together with all 3 families. Seeing how not just the local population, but the city and nationally, the coverage that was happening, that blew me away more than I can remember. It was something that I wasn't prepared for. Really seeing what it costs us, not just for the families, obviously. There's a level of closure that happens, but the community comes behind and really understands what the mission is. That was really incredible for me. That was my the other note that I'd like to mention about the video is the individual that was speaking in that video is the president of WWII. He wanted to say a few words for Wilbur Minutes when he found out the recovery happened. I thought that was really neat. This concludes the presentation. We often just tell people getting the word out there is really what we ask of the community. We opened our first office, our physical office, in the beginning of this year. We'll be having an open house ribbon cutting ceremony to the chain graduate July 22nd. I'll make sure that the flyer gets sent. There's a QR code on there so you can RSVP. Open to the public. We'd love to have you come out, really learn more about the organization. Really spreading the word is what we ask from the community. Really understanding what it is. Questions?
I was curious if you guys were doing any showings of the documentary, because I found that fantastic. I think I've seen it twice now, which just like really goes in depth more into your work, and also it's beautiful, like it's beautifully shot.
Thanks, Chloe, for bringing it up. We do have a documentary that it lays out a lot and it goes in depth immensely about what Project Recover does, especially the background and the ambiguous loss aspect of it as well. To answer your question, right now we're hoping for a fall screening. We're trying to get into Tower Theater again. That was awesome. It was during COVID, so we're hoping to have a better show this time around.
I apologize if you've already covered this, but do you receive any funding from the DoD? And if so, has that funding been threatened by the recent budget cuts?
Fortunately for us, we have not seen any impact whatsoever with everything that's happening. We do receive contracts through DoD. Oftentimes they have a database of their own cases as well, like we do. And then they have their own priority system and how they function. And we get handed down those contracts as well. Our goal is to get to the point where we're doing more internal missions. And to my point earlier, a lot of the cases that are really dear and near to our communities is the aviators that have been lost, or service members that have been lost during training accidents, where when that loss happens, there is an immediate response by whatever agency it is, Air Force, Marine Corps, Army, but it ends very, very dramatically, and eventually nothing ever happens if the individual is not found immediately. And that's where we can come in. We can approach the case in the exact same way that we would approach a true MRA case, which gives us the ability to really make an impact more so in the community, where a lot of these family members have never got answers, not even by the DoD. So really that's the hope, is that we can move away from the red tape, is what I like to call it. You have a question?
Are you looking for a specific person, or do you look in an area that you think somebody could be in, or does some give you a name and say, well, this person's missing here, and
Yeah. So we average about 13 cases a week where family members will reach out really globally with information that they might have about a missing service member. So our cases are growing on a weekly basis, no matter what. We have started campaigning, is what we call it, where it's specifically Blau, the islands of Blau. There's over 300 MIA cases that we can, right now we can recover. Really the only thing that's holding us back is resources to execute the missions. If we have enough information per individual case, in that case we'll prioritize it depending on what information we have. But to your point, or your question, we try to campaign as much as we can, it helps with resources. Having a team be there for an extended period of time and being able to execute 5 cases in one go is what we are aiming to do more of.
Have you done much in the Philippines?
In the Philippines?
Yeah.
Yes. So we've done, I believe it's under 10 cases, but we've done one recovery effort, and then the rest of the work that we've done in the Philippines has been documentation research. Politically, it's a very, very tough country to work with. Most host countries, what I like to say is there's an overlap of just humanity. It's a wild concept to be working in a country where 80 years ago we were arch enemies and we were fighting each other. And now fast forward to the present time, when we go into these countries, there's this overlap of a moral overlap, and most countries will work with us in which way possible. It's been really highlighted in Palau. Palau as a country has been amazing to work with, and they really let us in to work with whatever we're needing to do in the cases that we're working with.
I thought we had been to Chuk a lot too.
Yep. We just had a team really well. Chuk has been awesome. We again, it's a tough country to work with. The Japanese agency was there about 2 years ago, attempting a recovery, and they found some remains. And I'm not entirely sure how their protocol works, but they disposed of, essentially they burned the remains that they found, and it made the country not happy. So Chuk updated a lot of their policies, and it has made it a little bit more tough for us as a different agency working with our protocols that emulate the DoD as much as we can, and it's made it really difficult to work with.
So I've gone to Chuk and Dove.
I'm sorry?
I went to Chuk and Dove.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That's
Well,
what we got
last
a
time.
which was
It's just unreal. The documents World War II.
It's,
wrecks. Never been to plow too much. Documents.
It's absolutely amazing. I'm a Marine, like I mentioned before. I was given the opportunity to go to Peleliu, which is a large conflict with the Marine Corps forces during the island hopping campaigns. Standing on the beach where the invasion started, it feels almost untrue because of what nature has already done to the island. It doesn't even feel like there was a conflict there years ago. It's a gorgeous environment, absolutely beautiful. So it's really hard to imagine what happened there. But yeah, it's an incredible what history happened in those islands and now what it looks like.
Just a question. When you guys find remains, how are you identifying them? Are you finding dog tags, or do you have to go through medical records through the VA, or how are you guys doing that?
So really, we umbrella the case, or decide I should say, we umbrella with true archaeology methods. So we go grid by grid, depending on how big the site is. We go either a 1x1 foot grid pattern or 1x1 meter. Anything we find that can be as an identifier. So dog tags, teeth are a big thing that we're always looking for.
Dental records.
Dental records, we always have those from our defense. If we do find remains, it's oftentimes osseous material. Everyone kind of assumes that when we do find bones we have DNA. There are certain bones that just have nothing. So we try to recover as much as we can of the individual to include identifiers, depending on the rank and who they were, what birth they were flying. Some of them had different issued weapons. So when we do find weapons, sometimes we keep those as well. We don't keep them, but we have. Go ahead.
So, on the similar line of that, my daughter-in-law's sister is a forensic anthropologist that works in Omaha for DOD.
Yeah.
And she's one of the people that does the DNA analysis of remains that are found. I believe DOD has that lab in Omaha. They also have one in Honolulu. They may have others. But she's worked for them for a long time doing just that. When remains are brought to those labs.
Yeah, that's the two EPA locations that do the last part of the recovery, which is the identification. And it's really split by the world. So anything that happened, any recoveries that come from conflicts in the European theater and then that side of the world, then they'll go to Omaha, and then Pacific theater, and anything on that side of the world, they'll go to the Honolulu location.
Adrian, are there other countries that are doing this, or is it just United States that you know?
The United States is the only country that does what I mentioned before. Us as a nonprofit, fully vertical. So the DOD has the BPA, which is they do everything across the board. From what we do know, Great Britain, Canada, and Australia are doing similar work, but it's incremental. So portions of what we do, either research, some recovery efforts as well, but they don't have a database where they execute the whole gamut of the recovery effort, the whole mission of the recovery. It's awesome.
Other than the funding you mentioned from DOD, what is last year funding come from?
Development. We have been attempting to increase our development department. It's been really in the past 2 years.
So is that individual fundraising,
Yeah.
grant writing?
A lot of grant writing. We do have Central Oregon has been amazing since we really started to place a footprint here. But really, once our mission gets out there, it's really hard for people to say or ignore it. So people get involved almost immediately. So as far as community funding and nationally and globally, we've had a lot of really great success. Any save rounds? Oh.
Hi, Truman.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe we're photo op in front of the there,
Somebody say Jane?
I said Dean.
Oh, okay. One quick thing that I almost forgot, we have a Member of the Month award that is past due for Dan Tippy. So Dan, this is for December.
Wow.
So back to December.
Where have you been?
You were amazing.
Ringing the bell. Where's
Whatever
that?
you were
I
doing.
think it was
bell ringing.
Yeah, bell ringing. The ding-a-ling club. I think he can claim the first full half of the year.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks,
All right,
everybody. Couldn't
enjoy
have done it
your
without
day.
you all.
Thank you very much.
No,